Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special spoiler cast for Cobra Kai Season 3 here on the Outerhaven. I am your host for this very special episode, Todd Black, and joining me today is Sara
Hello.
and Keith.
What's up?
The ceiling, and much as like the growing ceiling of this series, because Cobra Kai Season 3, after such a long wait because of the Netflix switchover and preparing it for everybody and letting the natural hype grow even more, it has finally come. It has been less than a week since its release, and all of us here liked it, correct?
No, you're incorrect. I did not like it. I loved it.
There
You're
you
wrong.
go. And for those who haven't read our official review, that was done by our colleague Carl and is on the website right now. So if you want to go read the review as well as listen to our spoiler cast, by all means. But we are going to be dedicating the spoiler cast to talking everything about Cobra Kai Season 3, from the storylines, the characters, what comes next, the cameos, and of course, based on what happened at the end, is Cobra Kai Season 4 going to be at the end? We shall see. So let's start off with our overall reactions. Sara, let's start with you. What was your overall thoughts on Cobra Kai Season 3?
So I was really hesitant about Cobra Kai Season 3, if only because, I watched the original Season 1 when it was on YouTube Red, when it became free, and I really liked it, and Season 2 for me fell a little short. It felt a little cringy, the whole, love triangle thing. I'm like, I spent a whole adolescence dealing with that in, YA fiction. I was like, ugh, are we here again? But Cobra Kai Season 3 really surprised me. It did a fantastic job, I think. It moved away from sort of that, YA prepubescent storyline, and really developed all its characters, not just the relationships between the teens, but also their parents, and also connecting it back to the movies. So just frankly, I thought it was maybe the best season of all of Cobra Kai.
Ooh, a bold statement, but we'll discuss this later. All right, Keith, how about you? You said you loved it. Tell me why.
I'm going to go and echo what Sara said at the end. I think this is the best season of Cobra Kai so far, just because there's so many dynamics it introduced to this season. We got to see the relationship with Daniel and his wife become a little tighter, because in Season 2 it was kind of falling apart. We got to see Daniel go to... You know what? I'm not. Can I say that now? I guess we can. We got to see some closure with Daniel and Chosen, which was from back in Karate Kid 2, which is one of his biggest rivals. You know, right now he's going through the motions with Johnny, which was his big rival in the first Karate Kid, and now he's hooking up or facing off with a rival who ends up becoming a great ally, which is, you know, some powerful stuff right there. At the same time, we got the introduction of Allie, who they've been building up on since Season 2. And when they introduced her into this season, it was like, oh my God, is this going to be a love triangle here? Because Johnny still has the hots for her. But it turned out completely different than what a lot of people, including my wife, was expecting. And I enjoyed that. It wasn't like, oh, hey, you thought she's going to hook up with Johnny. Ha, she's not.
I was worried, though. I really was.
She was like, nah, dude, you got a future. Go get that. So I really love that. It didn't turn out the way we expected. And of course, the fights were so much better in the season. Way better. Way better.
Yeah, for me, I was with Cobra Kai since the beginning. Because
Karate Kid 1?
No, Cobra Kai. Thank you. On YouTube Red. I tricked YouTube. I used the free trial for the first seasons. So, but yeah, I was curious because when I heard that Cobra Kai was coming, say that 5 times fast. I was like, why? I mean, this was right in the middle of like all these reboots and rehashings and reimaginings coming out, and now we're getting a sequel series to the Karate Kid, which was great. I've seen the Karate Kid movies, loved them, but outside the Jaden one. But sorry, Sara. But I was just like, why? And then I was like, okay, let's give it a chance, and it blew me away. I was seriously like in love with this series. And Season 2 came out, and like Sara said, I felt there was a dip in quality, not just because of the focus on the love quadrangle, as I like to call it, but there just wasn't a lot of purpose behind it. All right, everything was building up to the riot, and yet it wasn't really there until right at the end. Season 3 for me was the real bounce back. It was the fallout from the school fight, and everyone just trying to scramble as everything just like rains upon them. And Kreese has Cobra Kai now, and how that all affects Johnny and Daniel and Robbie, as we would find out. And yeah, this was just a really well put their season for the most part, and the references to the mythology, and of course the trip to Japan was a real highlight, and that final episode, which we'll definitely talk about in length, but that final episode of the season, dear gosh in heaven, that was so good. It was so powerful in all the ways that mattered, and I'm already waiting so much for season 4 to show up.
It's so bad for you right now because now you have to wait for season 4 of Cobra Kai. And on an unrelated note, you also have to wait for the next season of The Mandalorian. So we're in for a very long wait for shows, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be worse.
Among other things. Yeah. So let's go into now the storylines, because there were a lot of storylines in Cobra Kai season 3, which I honestly felt was one of the things that made it stand out. The biggest thing for me was the fallout, and both in terms of the first episode and just in general for the season, because when you end a season like they did in season 2 with the school riot and Robbie on the run, Miguel is broken in half basically, and Johnny and Daniel are like, what the heck is going on? Like, what did we do? How are they going to react to this? How is everyone going to react to this? And I loved just about every path that this took in regards to the fallout. I love that they mentioned that Aisha, who I honestly almost forgot was gone because it's been a while since I've seen season 2, was moved away by her parents because they were just afraid of what was going to happen. And we saw like the parent committee meeting of Karate's banned, zero tolerance, and blah blah blah. And then we almost lost the All Valley tournament. I thought that was a fallout that I honestly didn't see coming. It's like, oh, they wouldn't cancel a tournament. Oh yeah, they will. And then of course Daniel and Johnny, and how they tried to find Robbie, who was still on the run. I thought that was very intriguing. Sam and her PTSD that she basically had because of Tori, and everything. They answered basically every question you could about the fallout, because you think there are shows that just go, oh yeah, the riot happened, let's just move on. You can't with this, and I'm glad they didn't.
I'm still a little lost though. There's one more character, and I can't place his name. He was the heavy-set older gentleman from Cobra Kai.
Talked about him.
Oh, Stingray.
Yeah,
yes,
what happened?
Stingray.
It was like, I was like, where's this dude at? I'm looking for this guy. Maybe I missed it.
Restraining order. He can't be within 500 feet of children.
Yeah, because he was applying for the job at the school, and then the riot broke out. He got involved.
Yeah, he was in the fight.
Yeah, and then I guess after that, the police or whatever came after him because he attacked students, and an adult attacked kids, and so he can't be at the school or anything, and that's why he's not in Cobra Kai. But I thought the same thing.
But yet, Kreese can, all right, you know what?
Kreese wasn't there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about other things that he's an accomplice of. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but no, that's what I really liked. Like, what were your thoughts on how they handled everything with the fallout?
Are you asking me, or are you asking Sarah? Or are you asking us both?
The answer is yes. Whoever wants to talk first.
I'll go. So for me, I thought the most interesting, as somebody like nerd alert time, I spent in my graduate degree when I was getting my master's in communication, I spent a lot of time studying comic book heroes and trauma, because that's a thing they'll let you do in grad school if you ask them to. And so I really liked Sam's progression of her trauma and her PTSD, and sort of dealing with her role, not just in the big riot, but also sort of the escalation, and what she decides to do about it. And you would think a character like Sam, if it were written by a lesser team, would be like, no guys, we gotta peace and love it and blah blah blah. And there's definitely some of that, but how quick she is to anger, how angry she is all the time, how ready she is to fight, and to when her dad's in Japan, basically be like, no, we need to catch up, we need to be strong, we need to like find ways to fight back. That sort of helplessness and powerlessness, all of that is just so well done to me. And I often worry when I see like characters who've gone through traumatic events, especially female characters, where it's like so often they get sort of put in these like, oh, they're going to be all meek and sad and cry all the time, which is a valid emotional response. Let's not be assholes about it. But that's like the only role you ever really see, which sucks. And the fact that they were like, no, Sam is a fighter. She's been taught to fight. And instead of crying, she wants to get in a fist fight. She wants to be angry. She wants to fight back in whatever way she can. I thought that was just great. And I was really here for that whole narrative arc. That whole storyline to me was and the way it escalates finally in the final episode, just phenomenal. So that for me was the number one.
I agree. That was a nice one, and I liked how it was easy when it was everyone but Tori.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was her accuser, that was her attacker, that was her everything, and she shows up in the laser tag room, and it's like, and then she goes full trauma, and it's like that's real, because you could be fine, and then you see the thing that brought you that pain, and bam, you're done. So, What about you, Keith? Aside from Stingray, we know your feelings on that.
To be honest with you, I don't really have a favorite because I think most of the storylines in here were actually very well done. If you had to force me to pick one, it was again going back to the Kumiko and Chosen, because it was just a chapter out of the movie and something that I didn't think we would see. I never thought that they would have Daniel. I'm at the urge of calling him Daniel's son, but Daniel going back to his past especially without Mr. Miyagi. And then him getting there and realizing that, wow, this is not the place that I remember. This is completely changed. It's now modern. And again, meeting up with Chosen, who was a rival, who was a bit of a dick when in her youth. And he comes up and he's like, I realized I was a dummy, and we're kind of connected because I kind of know the secrets of Miyagi-Do, and I kind of know more than you do now. And oh, really? Show me your kung fu. I know it's not kung fu, but show me. And it's like they make up. I teach you something, and something that he actually applies later on, as we'll talk about. And they're like, oh, we're besties now. I mean, I wish it was more to that because it was over way too quick. But it was also an interesting dynamic because he went to Japan to save his company. And obviously that wasn't working out. And of course, it just happens to be that young girl that you saved once upon a time ago just saved your company.
I know. I want to talk about it really quick because I agree that the Japan storyline was well handled. Outside of the whole, I just happened to run into Kumiko the one time I'm in Okinawa. Like that one, that you gotta allow that. But the girl he saved in the typhoon just so happens to be the senior vice president of the company that you're trying to get back to work with you.
Right.
Oh, it's a little much.
But it's so Karate Kid, though. It's so Karate Kid.
And it's also the little lingering thought, because my wife was thinking it, because I watched this with her. She's like, is he going to get with Kumiko? I was like, he's married, chick. What are you talking about? He's not going to do that.
No cheating.
No, I was gonna slap Daniel's on because they did like the whole hand touching thing on accident, which is like classic romantic comedy, and they're just like, don't you dare, Daniel-san.
Daniel, you have a hot wife who is very fierce. Do not do that, dude. You're crazy.
She's wonderful, and if you cheat on her, you're dead to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just gonna be dead because she'll kill him. All right, but no, I definitely like the Japan storyline and everything that came with that, and I love the fake out of Chosen. That was probably one of my favorite things. Was like he's so intimidating at first, and then he does the tour, and you start to see like, oh, okay, he does have a softer side. Then he goes right back to the hardcore, and then he does the honk.
Oh, you knew that was coming. That was coming.
Well, when he did the pose, I'm like, oh, he's gonna honk his nose. But it's just like for up until that fight, you're like, why is he really still such, like you said, a dick? Is he really still this angry? And why would Kumiko go this far to, bring them together? Like, did she know that he was like this still, and on and on? But yeah, that was really good stuff, and I too am glad that they made up, and kind of like a foreshadowing of what would happen with Daniel and Johnny, because you gotta bury these rivalries. The grudges should never last forever.
Sure, they can. Sure
I know. I still have so much grudges, but in a Karate Kid world, they shouldn't last forever.
Inner peace, damn it, inner peace.
I was like, I'm not about inner peace. I'm about kick and hack, eagle fang karate. No,
eagles don't have fangs.
Doesn't matter, eagle fang.
I know. I mean, hey, what if we called it Cobra Kai karate with a K? We call it.
I
K,
love
K,
that.
K.
It's like, yeah, no.
But the thing for me was during that conversation when he goes, yeah, it's probably a bad idea. I wondered if he actually knew why he shouldn't call it that. Because with Johnny, you just don't know.
You just can't tell.
Yeah, because the way he said it, he goes, yeah, probably a bad idea. It's like, are you saying that because it sounds dumb to you, or are you saying that because you don't want to be related to the KKK?
Yeah, like, he's not all there. I mean, he still keeps calling hashtag Hash Brown. I'm like,
Hash Brown.
Come on,
I
dude.
know. So, like, well, since we're talking Johnny, let's talk about his storyline because he was very much all over the place in a good way.
Yeah.
From the drunken rage at the beginning to I want Miguel to be all right. I want to do right by Robbie. Continuing to make the certain mistakes. Starting up the new dojo at Miguel's behest. Of course, the healing arc with Miguel, I thought that was really strong. And then, of course, how it all ends up with the final fight against Kreese. But what was your standout moment for Johnny in this season?
I'm gonna go first. I really like Johnny in this arc. I liked him in the second season, but I really liked him in this one. For him, it just when Miguel got hurt, so more that he wanted to be there. He knew he had to be there. And even though he has his own son, he realized that, you know what, Miguel is kind of more of my son than Robbie is. It's kind of bad to say that as a father, but it's like, I know where I need to be at this current moment. And it just shows that he's the kind of guy that if he's in your corner, he will not give up on you. And he hasn't given up on the kids. He may be trying to do the right thing and he stumbles along the way, but he at least realizes that he's not the best and he does what he can. Like when he was trying to get money for Miguel's surgery, he went back to his stepfather or whatever the hell his name was, Sid. And even stole that thing. What do you call that? Bust statue? What the heck that is?
A statue or a weird vase.
Like a bust of some kind, yeah.
He stole that to get the money to pay for Miguel's surgery. He did everything he could to do that. He was trying to find a job and everything. So yeah. I really like his character in this one. I really felt bad when every time him and Daniel got together, it's like, oh wait, they're gonna make up. They're gonna become friends. They're gonna become friends, and they get right to that point, and then something just
every time
changes. Every time they go,
every time.
What the heck, guy? What are you doing? Like when they were fighting in the garage, I was like, yes, there you go. And then Giants is going blitzing. And Daniel's like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? Let me kick his butt. Yeah. We're trying to find a kid. Yeah. But yeah, I love Johnny. I'm glad to see he finally got it at the end. Yeah. He finally got it. They both clicked, and I hope they don't ruin that. I really hope they don't.
He stole all my answers.
Yeah? Sorry.
How dare you? For me, honestly, it was really when he finally swallows his pride and goes back to Sid, because he could have gone back to Sid, the stepfather, at any point. Like Johnny is not a well-off human being, and I think also the moment at the hospital where he's like, I can just put some Bengay on that and be fine, right?
How is he not dead? I'm just sorry. How is he? All he does is drink beer. Like, dude, how are you not dead?
Logic.
Clearly, no. I was gonna say it's all those course banquets. They're secretly like the elixir of life, and that is how it works out for him. But yeah, that moment where like he finally decides that like there's something worth swallowing his pride for, and like that he's just gonna do it. And there's no like, I worried when they were like, oh man, there's nothing else he can do. I was like, ugh, are we gonna do all like this belly aching and grumbling for like an episode or two? He's like, no, just does. Like when he realizes he's out of options, he just goes and does it like an adult. And I'm like, oh my god, there's some character growth here to be found. But I also really liked the Tango and Cash, I guess is what I'll call it, the Tango and Cash moment when it's both of them in the car. And they're not driving, but they're trying real hard to be friends. They're trying so freaking hard. And that to me is just, it was just so much fun. I just love it when they try to get along and then shit inevitably falls apart. But like in those moments, it's just so much fun to watch them go back and forth with each other. And that's when I think Johnny is really at his best, is when I'm not gonna say he's trying to be like Daniel Russo, but like he wants to be respected and like admired the way he is, and that I think is when he's striving for his best, and that's when I like his character the most.
I also like the fact that they were doing the whole Tango and Cash thing, and they were talking to Daniel's wife, and he's like, "Dude, I'm not gonna lie to your wife."
I love that.
But Daniel was totally willing to lie to you. I'll lie to my wife. No, I'm not lying to her.
No, we had margaritas that one time, man.
Yeah, I just love that's such a Johnny lie. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna lie to your wife for you. Come on. And Daniel's like trying to massage the truth, like, hey, we got some information. Yeah, we went to the jail. we slapped some guys around.
Why are you like this?
Yeah, that was another great scene where like they're more afraid of Daniel at first, and then Johnny slaps him, and the guards are like, "I didn't see anything."
I ain't see shit, son.
I didn't see anything. Are you crying? Are you crying? For me, my two favorite moments ironically feature Miguel and Robbie. The first one was obviously just the healing sequences with Miguel and the links that Johnny went to, because it's kind of a mirroring of season 1 where he goes like, I'm going to push you harder than ever before because I'm your sensei and I want you to learn karate to be better. And now it's that I'm going to push you harder than ever before because you deserve to walk again. I am partially to blame for this. I'm going to make this right. And I love that when like you said, Sarah, when Johnny does like sets his mind to something, he becomes the good guy like he was originally in season 1 of Cobra Kai. And then the other moment with Robbie was the season finale where Robbie's trying to fight him. He's trying to go Cobra Kai on his carcass and say that time ties fast, but he's refusing to fight him. He's actually pulling a little bit more of Miyagi-Do. He's doing like parrying and like throwing him around. And then when he accidentally throws him into the lockers, what does he do? He goes to try and get Robbie to wake up to say that he's sorry and everything. And then Kreese becomes, Kreese, and we all know what happens. But like that moment where he's like, I'm not gonna fight my son, and then when I accidentally hurt him, I'm gonna comfort him. That's the proof that he really is a good father at his core. He just has to, work out the edges and, actually have good timing. All right. Like, I'm sorry, but that whole I love the abuela of Miguel. All my heart, like her in season 1 had like some of the best lines ever.
First of all, her name is Yaya. It's not
Yaya.
Abuela. All right.
Abuela means grandmother.
It does, but she's his Yaya.
Yaya. Sorry, Yaya. But I love Yaya in seasons 1 and 2. But that scene where she's like, I want you to pray with us, like when he's supposed to be with Robbie. I'm like, you couldn't think of a better reason. Like, come on. So
you don't question the wisdom of Yaya. That's not how this works.
Okay. Duly noted.
I'm rolling hot here as the Spanish speaker. One does not question the wisdom of the Yaya. You just do what she says.
All right, see, senora. All right. Now, season 3 obviously had a lot going on with a lot of characters from the Cobra Kai side, the Miyagi-Do side, the parents, the kids, and obviously our Japanese friends. Who was the standout character in season 3 for you? Let's start with Sara.
Oh boy. So I didn't want to like Kreese, and I still don't like Kreese. However, that's not the question you asked. The question you asked is who's the standout character. And to me, like, I hate villains who feel like they can't be overcome. And in season 2, it really felt like Kreese was just like at every angle, he was just there. And I fucking hated it. Like, it drove me nuts. I can't stand characters like that. But, then when in this season you see him, going to Nam and you find out about his mom and you see him helping Tori, I wouldn't say I came to like him, but I really came to respect the story. Like I really started to understand why Cobra Kai means so much to him, why he can't let it go, and sort of how you got like, because in the original Karate Kid, he's just an asshole. Like he's just a straight up toxic masculinity asshole who's like there is no weakness. Fuck you. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I am a man. And this is just how men is. And I also really I will say for Kreese, my worry is when Kreese came in and there was Tori and Aisha, which I'm actually really mad that she's not in this season. I was like, I miss her. I want her back. Bring her back. God damn it.
She was good. She was good.
She was good. She was like an actress. And I like that's like bodily diversity. Like I get that you have like the wee skinny scrawny babies. I'm like, no. I want fat girl karate. I want her to come in and punch people in the face like I used to do, like when I did karate way back in the day. That was a dream. But anyway, we're running back around. Kreese, I was like, oh, is Kreese gonna like shit on them? Are they gonna shit on Aisha for being black or fat? Or is he gonna shit on them for being girls? And he's just like, no, this is fine. All of this is fine because you can still be hardcore and a lady. And I'm like, you know what? I at least respect that from Kreese. So I really like seeing the nuance that they brought to the character. I still don't think he's a good character in terms of like, I'm not rooting for him. I don't want him to win, but I do understand how he got there. And I think they wrote it in such a way that made it feel something that I, as somebody who loves narratives of broken people could really get behind.
Yeah, I was really surprised when they did the backstory on Kreese, because I'm just like, well, okay, why are we in the 1950s and like up the cars and the diners and everything, and
you totally think it's the other guy.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's not him. I was like, oh shit.
I had
love
visions
that.
of Captain America, Steve Rogers, at that moment when they did that. I was like, oh, you're trying to make him relatable. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it worked. I mean, it worked.
And look, even the meekest, nicest boy can be turned into an asshole.
Yeah. I'll say the thing of that storyline at the end where he kills his captain or colonel, whatever he was, and he's in the snake. It's the snake pit. I'm just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, because I know a little bit about Vietnam history, and they usually have like spike pits.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking it would be.
With the punch-up spikes, and not the punch-up spikes. It's another, I don't remember the term, but they usually have like spikes, and then they would trick the soldiers into falling into them, and they would get infected because they would cover them and stuff. And like I thought, okay, that's a brutal way to die. No, it's a snake pit. So there's Cobra Kai right there. No mercy.
No mercy.
No mercy. But yeah, that's a good pick. How about you, Keith? Who's your standout character?
This is kind of a cop out, but Ali,
Go on.
because she is the mender of relationships. She is the ultimate psychiatrist. She comes in and goes, you have a problem with him because he's just like you and you're just like he is, and you're both pretty much the same thing. You should stop the shit and get together. You have a great wife. She's awesome. She is now my bestie. We're going to hang out all the time now.
Yes.
And this is what you guys need. You guys need to put down this hatchet and just come together. I honestly believe, and they actually said there was also an alternative to this if she wasn't going to do this. But in my mind, I'm like, if she had never got introduced, maybe Johnny and Daniel will still be at each other's throats. Maybe they wouldn't form this combination of Eagle, Fang, I forgot what it's called, dojo, and Miyagi dojo, because that's what she was. She literally was that. There was no fighting. There was no hostilities. It was all laughing, kumbaya. Everybody was getting along. Daniel got his hugs in, maybe too many hugs. And
Never
Johnny,
too many hugs.
Well, his wife was like, so that's 2 hugs.
Yeah. I love that.
She was like, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
And Johnny, when we first stopped the episode before that, when they walked in and you saw Johnny, and he's like, what is he doing here? And you thought it was going to be this fight. No, it wasn't. She got them to talk it out, and it was something that they really needed to do. So it was her. The build-up for her was worth it. It just stinks that she was only 1 episode, and then she's gone again.
Well, it's 2 episodes, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
It was 8 and 9.
We won't see her again.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
listen,
we might.
Elizabeth Shue's expensive, okay?
Yes. Here's the thing. I didn't realize, and this is like the fun thing about these cameos. I didn't realize it was Elizabeth Shue, and I just saw her in The Boys. I just got caught up on that, and so I'm seeing her at, what was her name, Madeline, I think, in The Boys, and like she was awesome there. And then then we have like that cold open of her mother, talking, and I'm like, who is she talking to? And then there's Madeline, and I'm like, oh, it's her. It's the woman from The Boys. So I didn't realize I was actually Allie, and I was like, that's so cool that you don't think about these characters these actors when they were in the original Karate Kid, and then here they are in Cobra Kai. It's like, yo, I remember them. They were there.
So I really love that dynamic. She was the standout character for me.
For me, the only problem I had with Madeline is
Madeline.
Sorry. She's Madeline to me. No, Allie with an I. The reason that I liked Allie overall, but problem I had was that in season 1 they established that she was married, and then in season 3 she's divorced, and I'm like, oh, didn't have to. You didn't have to do that. It could have been, hey, she's happily married. She had that life, and then they had that almost kissing scene with Johnny, and I'm just like, they could have mended the fences without doing that, because they were so close. And yeah, they worked that into the whole Carmen storyline, which who knows where that's gonna go.
I'm glad they did that. Carmen's a nice person. Nice
I
character.
like Carmen.
No, I'm glad they didn't burn Carmen. I mean, that was actual progression, but they were so close. Like it was closer than Daniel and Kumiko with the hand glass thing. Like they were like inches away. Then of course the phone rings because that's TV logic.
Yeah.
But like that, I didn't like that because like, oh no, I'm divorced now, and Johnny's like, ka-ching! You could hear it. You could hear it in his mind. He's like, oh yeah, my flame is finally here, and I can have my second chance with her. And yes, he did deny and refute and say I'm gonna be with Carmen, and I like that. But it's just they didn't have to go the divorce route. They could have done everything that you said, Keith, without throwing that onto the fire. Because, like you said at the end of episode 9, where they're doing, Johnny walks in and, why is he here? He's thinking, is he going to steal her away from me again? He wouldn't have thought that if she was still married.
Yep.
So, but that's my only gripe. But she played it. Allie was done so well written and everything. I was really and the way that Johnny was open with her, that was lovely. So that just shows how much he still trusts her and cares about her despite it being 30 years. And
I love how she finally put it out there. It's like, I didn't break up with him because of him, and we didn't last because of him either. It was because of something completely different.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Both of them were like, oh, I thought it was your fault. I thought it because you were a dork. No, it wasn't. It wasn't either one of those. So you're both wrong.
Yeah. Also, the Facebook messaging scenes. he's typing the book. No, I can't use that. He types the heartfelt message. Nah, too long. No, not much. You. So Johnny.
I mean, to be fair, that's so dudes.
It is. Dudes. So my favorite character, and this is probably going to be a cop-out too, is Miguel. Because he was the biggest question going into this was, what's Miguel's condition?
Oh, please.
Hold on. Like, we all figured he was going to be paralyzed, like, especially when we saw the poster with him in the wheelchair and then the trailer where we see him and Johnny, training and everything. But I was wondering where it would all go. And sure enough, they did the whole, can he walk again? And, Miguel was rightfully angry at Johnny because it would have been so easy for him to go, I forgive you. It wasn't your fault. It was Robbie. He wasn't your student. He wouldn't have done that to me if he was, and blah, blah, blah. But he's like, no, it's like, why did this happen to me? I listened to you. Why did this happen to me? Like that was touching. That was moving. And then then Johnny, worked his way back and, proved like, hey, I am still here for you. I am your sensei. Then he gets him back on 2 legs. Oh, we're getting the All Valley back. You're not going to be there. What do you mean I'm not going to be there? This was the season where he started to actually question Johnny. And I appreciated that because before in the first 2 seasons, he was basically, the puppy dog. He's like, Johnny says do this and you do that. But here it's like, why your teachings didn't work and I'm now, paralyzed. Then you help me walk, but you won't let me do the tournament like, I want to. And then where he called him out for avoiding Allie, he's like, wait a minute, I spent the whole day, helping you with your thing and we can't talk about mine. And then we even had that scene with him and LaRusso where he heard Daniel's side of the story and he's like, okay, maybe Johnny did, exaggerate a few things. And then the ending where he kicked that bully's butt again, saying thanks for the motivation. I liked how they really incrementally built Miguel into an even stronger character to where season 4 he's definitely going to be one of the leaders of the group where they're trying to take down Cobra Kai. And I just really appreciate that. Miguel has been just a standout almost from episode 1 of the whole show. So I'm glad to see that they're just continuing to build him up, and it's. As a writer, especially, I really love that because they could have easily just gone stale with a lot of these characters. And like you said, Sarah, Sam had a really great arc with her PTSD and Kreese, and no one. I don't think anyone expected those Vietnam scenes. So they are these showrunners and these writers love the mythology, and they are just building them up in such great ways to where you just don't know what's coming next. And I love that. Which brings us to twists.
Oh. There's too many. Too many.
But here, I'll start this one off because this was in my opinion the best one. Hawk.
You stole mine.
That's why I'm the host.
I knew you were all gonna go for Hawk. I knew it.
Well, there you go. So for me, Hawk was, I thought, the most straightforward of what was going to happen in season 3. He was going to embody the Cobra Kai that Kreese wanted. This was his perfect sensei. I even had it in my mind where it was like, okay, these are 3 senseis with their perfect students. We have Daniel and Sam, we have Johnny and Miguel, and we got Kreese and Hawk. And then over the course of the season, you start to see the cracks form. from the snake feeding incident to losing his his wingman, and I'm not going to say what his nickname was, but the big guy, we lost him. He's like, he's been loyal, he's not strong enough, get out. And then breaking Dimitri's arm, he didn't want to do that, you could tell, but he did it because he thought that was the Cobra Kai way. And then at the fight scene at the house, he's like, I can't do this. This is enough. I'm done. And he's like, I'm sorry for everything. And I'm like, yes, friendship is magic. Oh wait, that's a different show. But like that was so good. Now he's with, whatever they're gonna call their dojo. But like it was good because I wasn't expecting his redemption to be this season. I thought it would be the final or next season. But they did it this one, and it worked so organically with how they just healed it. Like, again, they built it up, and then they waned, and then they did this scene where he's just going postal on that one guy, and he's like got blood on his knuckles. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's back at Cobra Kai. And then he's like, no, that was just a one-time thing. So, yeah, Hawk was so good.
Well, since you kind of claimed Hawk, that's fine. There are plenty. I'm going to go and say, again, the whole Carmen, Ali, Johnny, because everybody was like, oh, they're totally going to get together and leave Carmen hanging, even though they just had a fun time together. And they didn't. And I was so happy. I think when my wife was like, oh, no, don't do this, and it didn't happen, I turned around and was like, see, you were completely wrong. And she's like, yeah, I didn't see that one coming. It's like, yeah, you were wrong. You were counting to be a dick.
Can I just know how happy I am that you and your wife are enjoying this? So it's not just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people listening are like, oh, these guys are such like hardcore nerds. Like, no, it appeals to, other people too. And
well, so, to be honest, I will give my wife some credit when she's not around, that she is a big nerd.
Everyone's a big nerd if you just look hard enough.
She gets on me about watching Star Trek Discovery. She wants to watch The Mandalorian. She watches this. She watches The Expanse. The only thing I hate about her sometimes is she'll start watching stuff without me. It's like, you were supposed to wait. And she doesn't. Like, I'm done with you.
The true reason to stay single, no one can betray you in the Netflix queue.
I don't want to watch this with you anymore. I'll watch it by myself. Goodbye.
Anyway, continue, man.
So I really like that. I think the whole story, the plot that they've been building up with Carmen and Johnny and excuse me, introducing Allie was kind of a tease. Obviously, we knew she was coming, but at the same time, it's like, if I go out with Allie, then I'm kind of screwing over Carmen. And I just had fun with Carmen. At the same time, if I do that with Carmen, I'm going to screw up my relationship with her son as well. And we live across the hall from each other. Maybe that's not a good idea to do that.
And you're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna fuck you up.
That's another thing I want to note. They had that fun time, and yet somehow she just walks back into the house and no one asks where she was.
She's a grown woman. You gotta ask me where I was.
No, but like that's the thing. You're telling me that Miguel, like Yaya probably knew, and she wasn't gonna say anything. That's fine. But Miguel, like, he knows his mom, better than anybody, and you're telling me that she doesn't show up all night, and she just walks in the morning, and like nothing's wrong. You're really gonna tell me Miguel didn't notice that?
Have we established where she works at? I don't think we know where she works.
I don't know.
She works at the hospital.
Okay, so I stayed at work all night. Ding.
She had a night shift.
But she wasn't in her work clothes when she got home. She actually had to go home to change.
You could change at the locker at work.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Listen, man, don't question it. Let the lady have her sex life, okay?
Oh, don't you mean her fun time?
Yeah, we're not allowed to. Yeah, you said she had fun time. She had fun with Johnny.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't want that to end on a sour note. And it kind of felt like it did. It was like very awkward at the end. It's like, so I'm gonna go to work and then we'll talk later. Okay.
Yeah. Count on it. Yeah. Or Johnny's great line is like, what do we do now? Well, I don't really have much in the fridge, but and he's like monologuing, like, no, I mean about us. He goes, oh, I don't know, but you are pretty hot. I'm just like, Johnny, have a little more depth. Just a little.
Just a wee bit.
He's stuck in the 80s. He's not. It's not happening.
Emotional development, that's so difficult. Let's just be weird instead.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can only have it with like certain characters. Like that's its limit. It's like you can have it with Miguel. He can sometimes have it with Daniel. He can have it with Ali. Like Carmen, he's back into his 80s self.
He has it.
All
He
right.
has it with Kreese as well. He just like I hate you with every fiber in my body.
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's just too dazzled by Carmen, and I had a terrible innuendo. I was like,
I bet.
he showed her his Cobra Kai.
Oh jeez.
But I think it should be noted that she struck first.
Oh
Mm.
god, here
saying.
we go.
Just saying. Anyway, but this is how Sarah is all the time. But
No, it's not.
I'm
How
just
dare
saying. I'm saying, Sarah, what was your favorite twist of the season?
Okay, so I'm gonna go for a quieter moment because that's what I enjoy. And for me,
Right.
okay.
Mhm.
Put it away. Nobody wants to see your Cobra Kai, all right? Put it away. Thank you.
I would make a line here, but let's just continue.
I really liked the scene, and it was a little bit. I guess they played it as a twist, though. I kind of saw it coming, but like, whatever. I'm fine with that. Where Kumiko is sharing with Daniel the letters from Miyagi, and he's like, Daniel's all like, I felt so lost, and I don't know what to do, and I wish he was here. He had all the answers. And the letter, basically proves that like it's Daniel who, like, they saved each other, basically. Like Daniel saved Mr. Miyagi. And he loved Daniel so much, and he loved his family so much. And that to me was just so not only was it like a really great, because I think like if you've seen Karate Kid, like you know that like Daniel saves Miyagi and Miyagi saves Daniel, even if that's not how Daniel sees it as a teenager. But just to have that beautiful moment where the two of them are just acting their asses off, just like, you gotta give it to Ralph Macchio. That was a performance. That was beautiful. So that moment to me, I didn't expect it. I didn't know I wanted it, but like to me, it was glorious.
Yeah, that was a great scene, and it started out kind of cheesy, like, oh, this letter is from the week that Mr. Miyagi died. Oh, of course it is.
Of course it is.
But like then she reads it, and I'm just like, I was right there with you. I'm like, yeah, Miyagi said that Daniel saved him, and like you could tell almost like without him being there that he was so happy that Sam was around to have his teaching. He's like, I feel like a grandfather, which is an honor he never got to have, and like that really was a beautiful moment. And in regards to Kumiko in general, Machio noted that he really wanted to bring her back because there was really no closure for her at the end of Karate Kid 2. He saves her from Chosen, and then they basically walk off into the sunset, and then Kid 3 is there, and there's Allie.
Yeah.
It's just like this was their closure. And that line that she had about, not just being a free agent, but, no one really fought to the death for me.
Yeah.
I was great because, like, it's hard to top you, Daniel-san. And, like, yeah, that is a pretty hard act to follow.
Gotta fight to the death for a lady's honor.
Yeah. Again, that's just goes back to the showrunners. I had to do a work script on the show once, and I read an interview about the showrunners and just how they were so passionate about the mythos of Karate Kid and how they looked at like every aspect and said, this we can bring. And there's so many references that most people don't even recognize in all the seasons. And it's just that's just their love. And that scene with the Miyagi letter was just a great example of that, because that sounded like Miyagi. It wasn't him who wrote it, obviously, but that sounded like Miyagi, and that was really beautiful. So, on that note, let's talk about something we've talked about all show, the cameos, because Keith really loved Chosen and Kumiko and Allie, and we got the origin story of Terry Silver.
Oh God,
that was a twist. I mean, the showrunners have not been. They're like, we will bring back anybody, even Terry Silver. They've said that multiple times, and then right at the end, there he is. I'm bringing back, the Karate Kid 3 evil dude. So that's going to be fun. But we were actually talking about this a little before the podcast. Who's left?
Hillary Swank.
Yes.
Hillary Swank.
Yeah. They have brought back everyone.
No Patrick Harris.
No.
That would be hilarious.
Swank.
I'm not gonna lie. I know why you said that, and that would be hilarious if he just happens to show up. It's like, hey, is this Cobra Kai karate? And then, like, Kreese kicks him out or something like that. It's like, okay, going somewhere else. So, but no, Hillary Swank is the obvious answer, and I actually have a storyline that would make sense for her to show up, because as the showrunners noted, the biggest problem with her character, Sarah, what's her name again?
I don't remember. It's just Hilary Swank.
Oh, fine, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with her character is that she never met Daniel. She has no connections to Daniel outside of Miyagi, and obviously she doesn't know Johnny because that was after her time, or before her time. So the question is, how does she connect with everybody? And the answer is something we'll talk about a little bit later, but in season 4, there is no doubt that Johnny and Daniel are going to just butt heads over how to teach these kids on how to be Cobra Kai.
I hope not.
They have to. It's inevitable. But like Daniel will preach self-defense. Johnny will preach more offense because we got to take them out before they take us out, and they're just butting heads. And then in comes Hilary Swank's character. It's and then she's like, "Hey, I heard that this is Miyagi-Do. Is that after Mr. Miyagi?" And they'll be like, "Who the heck are you?" And then she'll tell them her story, and she'll see what's going on with these two, and be like, "You do realize that Miyagi wouldn't have wanted this. You're supposed to find the balance between your lives and your styles." And Julie Pierce, that's her name. You're supposed to find the balance between you two and find the way to help these kids to defeat your enemy. That would be what Mr. Miyagi would teach, and that would be like, and it would literally be a 1-episode deal, and she'd thank Daniel for allowing her to reconnect Miyagi in her own way, and then she'd leave. But that would work. I feel like that would work in the context of what season 4 is likely to be, because they can't just drop her in until she's a main character or a recurring character. They have to do what they did with kind of like Kumiko and Chosen, where it's like, this happens, it's a good thing, let's move on. Because there is no one left.
Unless they bring Jaden Smith in.
Oh gosh. Him and Will show up.
If they're bringing back Hillary, then they can do that as well.
Yeah, I still liked the Karate Kid remake, and I will die on that hill. I will gladly.
I just want to make clear, I never saw it. I think I saw the ending scene, but that's it. I honestly never saw it, which is weird because I really like Jackie Chan, and I would have watched this off of instinct to watch Jackie Chan, but I honestly haven't seen it, so I do not have an opinion.
Yeah.
So Keith has seen it. He doesn't like it. That's what started this whole
It's
thing.
better than the next Karate Kid.
Oh wow, I like the next Karate Kid. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
So you will like the reboot. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's like, and I was young. I actually looked it up when I was trying to find her name, and it had like a 2-star rating.
I never understood why they this is just me, why they made the next Karate Kid. It was like, you know what? We need another Karate Kid. And then it's like, oh.
Yeah.
This did not
too old.
do well.
Well, it's like it's the classic Hollywood trope. It doesn't matter if it's the 80s, the 90s, the aughts, or where we are, or 2020s. If they think they can make money, they're gonna do so. And it did make money. It made about $3 million, which back in that time wasn't too bad. So, made $3 million profit. Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would want they've talked about it. They said that the showrunners have said that they are curious and they want to try and bring her in. Whether it be my idea or however they want to, but I think it's good. It would be just a nice continuity thing, because Miyagi did have another student, and it would be nice to just acknowledge that, even in a fleeting way. So, because again, who's left? They've done literally everyone. They brought the girl from the Typhoon back. I mean, that's hard to top.
Typhoon lady. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there is anybody else. I'm like, I don't know. Was there someone in the animated show that they could?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't know who else they have left.
That's a kid.
Yeah, I mean they did the grandmother in season 1. That was a great callback. They've done Kreese. He was the obvious one. They're bringing back Terry Silver. I mean they're not going to bring back Lucas, or like the Karate Kid 3 bad guy. Like that'd be almost
Mike Barnes.
Mike, is that his name?
Yeah, Mike Barnes.
I thought his name was Lucas, but yeah, like that would be too much at this point. That'd be like, oh, it's Silver and Lawrence back. That would be bad. But there's no one left. I mean, Japan was the big thing, because it was, that's an ocean away. Why would he go back to Japan? Now we know why. And that was a great way of them doing that too, because it would have been a little cheesy to say just like, I need to reconnect with Miyagi. I'm going to Japan. So yeah. But we'll see. I mean, they're gonna go big for season 4, which of course brings us to the fight scenes.
Fight.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I think we can all agree that the last fight is the best fight.
Yes.
Yes, it's also the most ridiculous. It's also the most ridiculous. And again, coming from a parent and somebody owns a house, and I'm like, you just threw that kid through a damn window.
Yeah.
And you broke through the doors. How is that not assault?
Yeah.
Trespassing. I'm like, pick up the phone and call the cops now.
Breaking and entering, technically.
Conspiracy to commit a crime, because they actually had to plan that, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I also think Keith just shamed us, Todd, for not being homeowners, which is rude.
Hey, you know what? That's not always a good thing to be a homeowner. Trust me.
Yeah. But
am I gonna be able to afford a home in this lifetime? Not in this economy.
No. But no, the house fight scene was dope. It was like, and it really harkens back to what they did with the school fight, where they had kind of like the Daredevil style of a hallway scene with like the one shot, the sweeping camera movements, following the characters as they go from room to room. That really brought it in. And of course, the kind of darker take on the Christmas music as the fight is going on.
I love that music. I loved it.
Loved it too. So good. But that was a classic. That was a total standout. Of course, it had all those big character moments, and especially Sam versus Tori. Oh, assault with battery, assault and battery. Because she used a weapon. That's assault and battery right there. But that was definitely a good one. But for me, and I know that the house scene was good, but the fight with Kreese, because it started out Johnny Kreese, then it was Johnny Robbie, Kreese Johnny, and then Daniel bursts in, and he's like, he's had it. He's totally done. He's like, you sent them to my house.
Can I just add real quick? Johnny and Kreese already had to fight, and Johnny kicked his butt. So it's like, all right, I already kicked his butt. I softened him up for you. How is it that he's still able to fight Daniel? It's like, just kick his butt.
Kreese.
Like, just the power be done of rage, bitches.
Yeah, and adrenaline, because he has especially wanted to go after Daniel for a while. You could argue that he was slightly going soft on Johnny because he still wanted him to join Cobra Kai no matter what. But then after it was clear he wasn't going to, that's when he did like the side to the back of the head and trying to choke him out. I didn't want it to end this way. He has no such remorse against Daniel. He sees Miyagi when he looks at Daniel. He's like, I am going to kill you for what your master did to my hands. And so, like, yeah, I'm going to go all out on you. And Daniel still plays defense. Like, that's just his thing. I am self-defense. Sure. And those techniques work, but they can also get you in trouble if you're not careful, which he showed. And then, of course, overcame him via the pressure point combat. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah. I was just like, because he's choking out. And I, for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking about Daniel. I don't know why, but I was just like, he can't kill Johnny. That would be weird. And then Daniel just shows up out of nowhere. It's like, you said that's in my house?
Do you think that maybe Johnny was also going soft on him too?
On Kreese?
Yeah.
Probably. Again, he's a self-defense guy. He hated him, but he wanted to take him down, but Kreese was trying to kill him. There's no doubt in my mind. Kreese was going to try and kill Daniel.
No. Johnny going after Kreese. You think he may have held back a little bit?
No. I disagree. Yeah.
Not a chance. Like, especially not after seeing Robbie there. He's like, you are corrupting my son. You're dead.
Yep. So, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was so awesome. I mean, and I know we're gonna get the All Valley next season, which is kind of like its own full circle moment between Karate Kid 1 and 3. But I hope that we have at least one of these, kind of out of control fight scenes before we get to the All Valley, because that. As good as those fight scenes were in season 1, they were a more controlled setting because that's what they needed to be.
Yeah.
Versus, what the house scene, the school riot was, and it's exciting. I love the choreography that they did in these fight scenes. It was so good.
I don't know. I mean, because in the tournament sense, you're going to be a little bit more restricted because you're fighting for points.
Yeah. As I say, it's a more controlled setting because it's like you have rules, you can't break them unless you want to lose points, which is its own Karate Kid reference. But
yeah.
I mean, but you're not going to see, a girl with nunchucks going up against a girl with a bow staff. So, or can you? Is that allowed?
Actually, so I don't know if nunchuck bow staff is technically. It depends on which karate school you follow. But mixed weapon fighting is a thing. So like I used to horrible confession time. I am a second degree brown belt. My sensei went back to law school, so I didn't finish, and I did get my black belt. But I studied Ishinryu for.
Why are you apologizing for that?
8 years? Because it's weird.
No, it's
8
not.
years. And I specialized in Psy combat, which is the two knives, and there are Psy on Psy fights, but there are also Psy and bow staff fights. And let me just tell you, bow staff to the knuckles hurts like a bitch.
Yeah.
It like, oh my god, it just hurt all the time. But yes, so mixed weapon fighting is allowed. I don't know if nunchuck bow staff is an exception. I don't think I've ever seen it, but then again, we didn't do nunchucks. We did Psy bow staff, Tonfa, and Eskrima, and those were like the 4 that we had, and those were the 4 we were allowed.
Okay, Keith,
But
permission to speak freely.
Go for it.
Okay, first of all, Sarah, that's awesome. Second of all, totally jealous. Third of all, that's hot.
Why are
Wow,
you
thanks.
asking me permission to speak? Just
I'm
speak.
just
You're my boss.
Say what you want to say.
It's just like, you're his boss, and then if I turn around and be like, Keith, fire his ass for sexual harassment, it's fine.
I wouldn't have to. Like, Sarah just told you what she can do. She'll find
Yeah,
you.
she'll kill me.
I know where you live. I used to go to school near you.
Yeah, she did. It's true. I found that out recently. We were actually very close to each other one time without ever knowing each other. That's how life works. But
You want to hear something really freaking weird?
Whoa.
So this is gonna blow your mind about Small World. So
Okay.
my first girlfriend lived in the same apartment building as my wife.
whoa.
There was
That
probably a
is
point in
freaky.
time where we passed each other once upon a time. That was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait, she used to live here. What?
Yeah.
So that
That
was
is
weird.
weird.
I mean,
Huh?
who knows? Maybe Todd and I saw each other at a bar one time and just...
Well, that's a lie. I've never been to a bar.
What?
Okay.
And why is that so
stepping
hard to
that
believe?
back.
I've never been to a
Stepping that-
bar either.
Stepping that back, I was at a bar restaurant. So like like a big place where you have like a
Yeah.
bar, and then I've been to a place like that.
You mean like
Do
a
you
Fridays?
remember Jupiter's in Champaign or Savoy?
Yeah. Oh,
I've been there.
God.
Love
Wow.
Jupiter's. Love
Oh,
Jupiter's. But I've
Jup-
never been to a bar, and I am 31 years sober. And for
Fair
those
enough. I
if
mean,
those
as a graduate student, you drink to forget. That's just how it is. You have to. It's like a right. Well, you don't have to. There were people in
No,
my program
I
who
didn't.
didn't.
I should have. I should have.
I mean, yeah, I was like, you live near like what
I
is it,
should
a
have.
massive,
I should have.
a
College
massive
was
college town. Yeah.
I was in
Like-
Chicago. I really should have. But anyway, Karate Kid. Right. This is where I
Right.
Cobra Kai. But so let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk season 4 because we have the storyline of season 4 is the lead up to the All Valley and the potential dethroning of Cobra Kai for good. If Kreese and Cobra Kai do not win the tournament, Cobra Kai is dead for
Woo.
good. And now we have Johnny and Daniel teaming up to teach their now combined dojos to go and take down Cobra Kai. What do we think is gonna happen in season 4? I've already talked about my idea of they're probably gonna butt heads on how to teach their kids because very conflicting fighting styles and methodologies. But what else do you feel will happen in the lead up to the All Valley?
Well, I'm going to go here. So we all know that, well, speculation, but it's pretty much confirmed that Kreese is calling on Twig, a.k.a. Terry Silver, to help him out. And I firmly believe that if Silver is coming, I also think Mike Barnes is coming as well.
Oh, Barnes. They said Lawrence. Sorry.
Yeah, Mike Barnes. I totally feel he's going to be there as well, which means he has his 2 other people helping him out. He doesn't have as many kids because the combined dojos pretty much have the stars now, with the exception of Tori.
Yeah, Tori and Robbie.
And that's it. The new guys are pretty ruthless, but they have all the big talent. I also want to say real quick, I also think they took Aisha out of there so they can just focus on Tori, and I forget the daughter's name, but
Sam.
those
Sam.
two. Sam. They wanted those 2 to fight. Tori was Aisha was always the moderator. She was the middle person. Don't do this. Go talk to this person. Do X, Y, Z. She always went back and forth with Tori, with Aisha out of the picture completely. It's like, all right, I'm done with you. I can't stand you anymore. I'm going to kick your butt. So they had to get her out of the picture.
Yeah, that's fair, and that was a fair. And again, they acknowledged it, and they gave a logical reason. So, Sarah, what about you? What else do you think is gonna happen in season 4?
Okay. Here is my thought. Right. I always question. I'm pretty sure Miguel. I don't know if he is a documented person or an undocumented person. I don't remember if they've ever mentioned that.
No,
Not that it's
They're there legally. They talked about it.
okay.
Yeah, that was a key conversation because Johnny's like, "Oh, great, another legal immigrant," and he goes, "No, we came here the right way," and
Well, the right way. I
The
have
right
lots
way.
of feelings about that as somebody who
this is the way, Sarah.
I will fight you.
I know.
And I will hurt you.
I know.
Don't sound so pleased about that. Anyway, this is already turning weird. But for me, I think there's going to be something with Miguel's dad in season 4. Now, there's been some weird speculation online that Terry Silver is his dad,
Oh,
and I'm like,
gosh.
I don't think that's true, and that would be really fucking weird. But we do know that Miguel's dad is a bad guy. And I'm like, he's gonna place. I feel like to full circle the whole theme with like fatherhood, they're gonna bring him back. And whether he's gonna try to like hurt Carmen or steal Miguel or extort them for money or mess with their, like, if they're there, I wonder if they did it through TAPS, which is the temporary assistance program, which basically like the government goes like, hey, cool, like you can be here for another year or so because your homeland is a shit show, and it's not feasible to let you live there anymore. Like mess with their TAPS or something like that. But I definitely think the father's going to come in and play havoc, which is going to throw Miguel off balance. And since Miguel is the heart of the, like, really is like the heart of the show. Like, let's be real here. They tried to make it Miguel and Robbie, and like it just doesn't work for Robbie. Like poor broken Robbie. Miguel's the heart of the show. So if they throw him off balance, then all the stakes become immediately higher. So I think that's what's going to happen in season 4.
And this could set up, especially if they do like the TEP storyline, that could set up Johnny, marrying Carmen to save both her and Miguel. So,
right.
Which again, they still have to acknowledge that to Miguel that they had a fun time, and that's good. That's
do they
so
really
awkward.
have to? I mean, do they have to?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, what if they gave Miguel a little brother or sister?
I think Miguel is completely clueless because the reason why I say this is because if he was aware that Johnny was digging his mom, he wouldn't be like, oh, hey, you're trying to hook up with Allie all of a sudden. He would be like, wait, aren't you talking to my mom, though?
But he hasn't gotten those clues. I mean, and mainly
exactly.
Because,
this is why I said he's clueless.
No,
he's completely clueless.
Mainly because every time, they've honestly had the interactions together, Miguel is either injured, like in season 1, or they're just doing like this simple heart to heart where she's like, oh, I'm going to go over Johnny's, like in season 2 to give him like the food, or sorry, season 1 where, hey, here's some food for you. And then they did the date, which maybe Miguel knew about. They didn't really say. So it's very much up in the air because they framed it to where it's clear that Johnny and Miguel had never been, in the same room where he's making eyes at Carmen. So,
but she's never like said, wow, that Johnny's a nice guy or something. Just once.
Well, no, she's acknowledged to Miguel that he is a good teacher at times, but you also remember that at the beginning, especially at Cobra Kai season 1, she was very against Johnny because he was secretly teaching her son karate because she didn't know at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then
because the dad was a bad guy who was violent.
So and then once she saw that he's better and he became more confident, but then go back to the beginning of season 2 where she's like, I saw a look in my son's eye I didn't like. He was so intense, and even Johnny was like, yeah, I saw that too. I'll make sure he follows the right path. She was appreciative of that, but she probably didn't mention that to Miguel outside of just listen to your sensei and all that. So, but we'll see. There's a lot of ways this season could go, which leads us to our final topic as we wrap up. Is this the end? Is season 4 the final season of Cobra Kai? We know season 4 is happening. That's already been confirmed. But is this the final season?
Because I think so. I definitely think so.
It has to be, doesn't it?
It has to be.
It has to be.
There's a thing about dragging things out too far. You're closing out. You're possibly eliminating Kreese. You're getting rid of Cobra Kai. You're mending the fences between Daniel and Johnny. The kids are going to mend their ways. There's only 2 kids left again, and that's Tori and Robbie.
Two main kids.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much closing up everything.
Yeah, and especially like to your point of like dragging things on. If they were to drag things on, who is left to fight?
The next Karate Kid.
I was gonna say, yeah, like what
Julie.
What if they're like, you know what, Curveball season 5 is all about Julie opening her own school.
Yeah.
And dealing with shit, and then the other people make cameos in that, which, you know, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, Keith, but Allie's Elizabeth Shue, she actually wanted to come back as a dojo teacher. She wanted to have her own dojo so she could teach Sam her own kind of karate or whatever. But obviously that didn't happen. But that was what she wanted when she came back. She's like, I want to be in my own dojo so we can all three of us have a dojo. That's what she wanted for her character.
And you
originally.
get a dojo, and you get a dojo, and you get
Everybody
a dojo.
teaches karate in California.
Pretty much.
Welcome to Cali. We all have dojos here. But
it's like some people have pools, I have a dojo, you know.
And then it's the rivalry of who is the real student of Miyagi? Was it John, or was it Daniel, or was it Julie? But no, it's just,
that'd be fun to watch them fight.
it would be for like, you know, one season, but it'd be one season, and then they realize like Miyagi wouldn't want his two best, or I guess best, you know, his two main students that we know about, you know, to go and fight, you know, because that would be against his teachings. But yeah, I'm with Keith. This has to be the end, because Kreese is the final boss. You know, he is the Sephiroth of this. You know, the one-winged devil in our case. But yeah, what would be after anything after Kreese would be a letdown, because it's ever since the end of season 1, it's Kreese is here, and we all know what that means.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, here's the thing though. If they wanted to throw a wrench in shit, they could be like, hey, we have to postpone the All Valley because blank. Like insert reason here, and they could push the All Valley to season 5.
Yeah,
and go for the full 5 seasons. But I don't know if it's that's in their best interest. I also wonder, like, I mean, I'm sure the older actors don't really have very much I mean, Elizabeth Shue's obviously still working, but like, you don't really see Ralph Macchio or the guy who plays Johnny doing very much.
Yeah, they don't do much at all.
But the kids probably like have shit that they want to like move
especially
on
now
to.
that they have this on their resumes. But yeah, Ralph even admitted that he's been more than happy to step out of this Hollywood light after Karate Kid 3, which is why he didn't do Karate Kid 4. And you know, William Zabka, how you say that last name, you know, he's the same way. They're appreciative of what Cobra Kai has given them the chance to, you know, reconnect with their youth, and that's good. But yeah, if they were to do the season 5, I would almost this is like gonna be a terrible reference, but the final season of How I Met Your Mother,
that is terrible.
I know. I only watched the last episode because I wanted to see how it ended, and even I was like, seriously? But the way they framed it was the whole season took place around the wedding weekend. Well, they could do that with season 5 with it only being about the All Valley tournament. It would be they could drag it out to where it's like it'd still be 10 episodes, but like every fight is its own episode, or like every 2 fights is its own episode, and like the drama, and then, you know, we flash back to like their preparation of, you know, Sam and Robbie and Hawk and everything, and then like episode 9 could be the victory, and episode 10 could be the payoff, because sometimes you need to have a cool down, right? Game of Thrones. You felt that. You all felt that out there. I know you did.
You're still mad about it. It's cool.
Oh, I am. My dad's watching season 8 like right now because I got HBO Max because of Wonder Woman, and he's like, "Oh, I can finally finish Game of Thrones," and he's like, "Hey, I'm almost at 7," and he heard. My father has heard that season 8 was terrible. Anyway, but like that, they could do that. Whether they'll do that, I don't know. But
I mean, I think I don't know if maybe they would do it like a full season. They could also do like season 4 in a movie.
Ooh, I like that. Cobra Kai the movie.
Yeah.
I could dig it.
Cobra Kai, Never Die.
Ooh. Yeah.
That would be dope.
Or Cobra Kai the Final Strike.
Ooh.
Yep. It's a gift. But
Really?
I actually like that. That would actually be kind of cool. That'd be an even better setup, because he gets the whole season as the build up, and then it's Cobra Kai will conclude in Final Strike. Potential.
Nah, let it end.
He's like, no,
let it go
up,
off on a good note. Let it end on a good note.
Let it die.
Let it go.
All good things must come to an end.
Karate never bothered me anyway. All right. So with that, we are ending this very fun spoiler cast of Cobra Kai Season 3. I'd like to thank Sara and Keith for doing this with me. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm so glad I'm not alone. I had no one to talk about Cobra Kai with until I came to Outerhaven. It's like, yes, you all like most of you like Cobra Kai. Yes, awesome. So
It's a great show, and
it is.
every time I think about this, I go, so Captain America sitting down in a chair, YouTube. So you didn't want to continue this? Why?
No, exactly. But aren't we better for it though?
Yes,
'Cause,
we
I
are.
mean, it
Throw
went to
that Netflix
Netflix and
money.
exploded. It really did. It went from
True.
cult classic to mega hit.
True, but look at what they did to Lucifer.
Yeah.
So it's not always a guarantee. It was a gamble.
I mean, it was that or it going
Cancellation.
away forever.
Yeah. At least they're getting an ending in Lucifer, all right, like a true ending. So, but that's another spoiler cast. So let us know what you have thought about Cobra Kai season 3 and what were your highlights, your lowlights. I mean, I could have gone on about that one blonde girl from who went to France and is now with Dimitri for some reason, but I held back because it was just too painful. But like, what were your favorite?
That
moments?
was the most unrealistic part of the entire season.
I know. Like, come on. Ugh. So, but everything else is pretty much good. So let us know what your thoughts are. And again, we do have our review of Cobra Kai season 3 up on the Outerhaven website. Be sure to check that out. So for Keith and Sarah, I am Todd. Be sure to check out all of our Outerhaven content, and we will see you in the dojo next time for season 4.
It's gonna be a long wait.
It is. Ugh.